Welcome to this presentation of Enhancing Business Analysis with ChatGPT. As someone who's been involved in business analysis since before it was invented, I'm excited to paint a picture of your future here, and I must admit, I am somewhat jealous. All of you are just starting to experience a dream that I have followed and tried to realize since I was a young man, namely the joy and terror of working with machines that make you think that they can think. So how did we get here? Well, in the far and distant past of November 2022, a company called OpenAI ignited a revolution when they released a new tool called ChatGPT 3. I'm sure all of you have heard about it, probably more than you ever wanted to hear. What we're figuring out as time goes by is how this will affect all of us, especially those of us who live in the business analysis universe. So what's this presentation going to be about? Well, here's the agenda for our journey through the synergy of human intellect and artificial intelligence. This presentation is not just about learning. It's really about preparing you for the coming revolution in business analysis. So let's take a look at the milestones of our exploration. To start with, I'm going to talk about AI as a collaborative tool, not a replacement. Imagine a collaborator that works 24/7, processes data in seconds, and uncovers patterns that you didn't even know existed. That's AI. Today, I'm going to try to demystify the myth of AI as a rival and help you embrace it as the ultimate partner in your analytical quest. Then I'll address best practices for prompting AI. Now, precision is key, and the language you use to interact with AI determines the value of its output. I'll show you how to write prompts that are not just heard by the AI, but understood and acted upon. These will elevate your analytical powers to new heights. But I'm not just here to talk theory. I will demonstrate a few use cases for AI in BA work. I'm going to showcase a few real-world examples where AI has not just enhanced, but revolutionized business analysis. From automating repetitive tasks to revealing qualitative insights. See how AI is already changing the game. With great power comes great responsibility. Gee, I wonder who said that. I'm going to touch upon some of the risks and how you can safely navigate the AI landscape as we discuss the ethics of AI, the safeguards that we need, and how to wield this powerful tool with responsibility and wisdom. In the end, I recognize that I am not omniscient. I was offered the job, but I turned it down because I thought I knew better. This is your world. Challenge me, question me, share your insights. In this interactive Q&A, your voice will shape the conversation and our collective understanding of AI in business analysis. I may not know all the answers to your questions, but I have an assistant, and it's pretty bright, assuming you ask it right. Together, we're really at the forefront of a new era. So together, let's ignite the spark of transformation and really lead the charge into a future where business analysis isn't just enhanced, but transcended by the power of GPT. So let the exploration begin. Now, this word cloud represents the current state of artificial intelligence. Actually, this is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg that sinks projects around the world. What this really represents are the 50 most commonly used terms in the AI language as of last week when I created this presentation. And JFI, the creation of this wonderwork took me all of 20 seconds using ChatGPT. So that's your first lesson for today. Generative AI tools will surprise you with all of the hidden gems that they offer. Now, obviously, if I tried to explain all of these AI terms in this presentation, we'd still be sitting here come Christmas. So let's narrow the topic a little bit. Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence technologies that can generate new content or data. It uses algorithms to create that content based on patterns and styles that it learned from existing data. So unlike Google searches that simply respond to your inputs by regurgitating available data, generative AI produces outputs that never previously existed. The backbone of generative AI includes machine learning and deep learning models that are trained on large data sets. They read the internet. This allows them to understand and recognize and repeat complex patterns and styles. So for business analysts and requirements engineers, the applications are enormous. Anytime you need to write anything, Gen AI can significantly reduce the time and cost of content creation and enable a more engaging customer experience. That is what I call AI for BAs. And that's the focus of this presentation. In a few minutes, I'm going to demonstrate some of its capabilities. However, due to the unique nature of your role in defining future applications, there's another dimension you should know about, and that's what I call BA for AI, meaning if you're responsible for working out how your organization can benefit from AI technology, which is kind of your traditional role, figuring out how to leverage emerging technologies, you're going to have to develop some techniques for defining the requirements for the ethical, legal, and responsible use of AI. And for that, you're going to need a deep dive into the technology that far exceeds the scope of this presentation. So what can it do for BAs? Well, this technology is going to help you do things like stakeholder identification. Now, for a BA, finding the right stakeholders is crucial. ChatGPT can really assist you in mapping out the network of individuals who have a stake in your projects. That'll reduce the risk that key players are overlooked. The analysis of documents and data is really a cornerstone of AI. Now, it's also a cornerstone of business analysis. So ChatGPT can quickly sift through a vast amount of information. It can extract valuable insights and save you a ton of time, by the way, while increasing the accuracy. Defining requirements and crafting user stories can often be very iterative, onerous, and very time-consuming. ChatGPT can suggest comprehensive requirements and user stories based on its understanding of your and similar projects. In transforming complex data into clear models and visualization, ChatGPT can be an invaluable tool. It can provide you with the means that you are able to see the big picture, and you can communicate it with models and diagrams. Figuring out the right questions to ask is really a major factor in determining the success of a project. ChatGPT can help formulate the questions. It can even generate some questions for you, ensuring that you get the information you need. And staying ahead in any business means understanding the competition. ChatGPT can perform competitive analysis by aggregating and comparing data from a wide variety of sources. It'll help you strategize effectively. Generating reports and documentation can also be streamlined with ChatGPT, which can automate a lot of the writing process. That ensures consistency and reduces manual effort. ChatGPT can also aid in identifying potential risks and even in developing mitigation strategies. That would help you anticipate challenges before they arise and give you and management actually an opportunity to plan accordingly. When it comes to brainstorming solutions, ChatGPT is a world champion, and it can be your partner. It can offer a range of ideas and perspectives based on its vast database of knowledge that you might never think about. For gap analysis, ChatGPT can compare the current and desired state of products. It can identify the gaps, and it can suggest actionable steps to bridge them. In financial analysis, ChatGPT can assist by processing financial data to extract trends, patterns, and insights even that might take humans a lot longer to decipher. And this is just the beginning. As we continue to explore ChatGPT's capabilities, the potential applications in business analysis are pretty much only limited by your imagination. Let's embrace the technology and unlock new levels of efficiency and innovation. Now let me introduce you to a few of the concepts that you need to be aware of so you can talk AI. As business analysts, you're familiar with complex data and systems. Large language models are advanced computer programs that understand and generate human-like text. And they're trained on vast amounts of written material. They analyze patterns from this huge data set of human writing. And they learn everything from simple grammar to complex storytelling techniques. LLMs can answer questions, they can write stories, they can even create poetry. They simulate a human-like understanding of the language. However, they don't truly understand the content like you and I do. They're just finding and replicating patterns in the data that they were trained on. So let me be clear. LLMs do not store facts. They store probabilities. And just like you and I, when we're trying to communicate, our brains need to decide what word should I use next in this conversation to achieve my goal. So the real secret sauce to this type of AI is pattern recognition. That's a key takeaway. Now, GPTs, or generative pre-trained transformers, are a specific type of LLM. They're designed to understand and generate text in a more specialized and efficient way. It's like a more focused version of a general LLM. GPTs are trained to excel in particular tasks or subjects. They can be really good at things like translating languages, summarizing articles, or even answering specific types of questions. GPTs are exceptional at generating text that closely mimics human language. Mimics. That makes it sound like it was created by a person. Now, this ability allows GPTs to craft responses that are not only grammatically correct, but also contextually relevant and even stylistically varied. They can range from formal reports to creative fiction. However, it is important to understand the limitations of these models. While they're powerful at processing and generating language, their outputs are based on the data they've been trained on. And that means two things. Their training data is from a specific point in time, meaning the GPT is never up to date. Secondly, they will reflect or amplify biases or inaccuracies present in their training data. And because they lack true comprehension and are really limited to pattern recognition and replication in language processing, their outputs absolutely have to be critically evaluated, especially when you're using them for decision-making in complex business scenarios. Because they're good at creative fiction, they can sometimes hallucinate, as they call it. You could also say they lie. A case in point, from a recent court filings in which lawyers used generative AI to create briefs that were determined by the judges to be based on non-existent case law. You can imagine that the judges in those cases were not overly amused. That's the risk of using GPT-generated information without vetting it. So how can you ensure that your interactions with generative AI like ChatGPT are as effective and honest as possible? Well, first, let's discuss this thing called prompt engineering. This is all about how you communicate with AI. It's how you ask AI for anything. And if you really need to be clear and specific in your prompts. That way you can guide the AI to give you the information you need. Think of it as asking a very precise question to get a very precise answer from a very, very knowledgeable person. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. You might even need a thing called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. This is a technique where the AI uses vast amounts of information from a lot of different sources to provide responses that are not based on its training, but also include the most current and relevant data that's available. That keeps the responses accurate and up to date. Now remember, LLMs are self-contained, meaning they have no communication to outside sources by themselves. The LLM has probabilities. The RAG provides relevant facts and situational data. So if you formulate your prompt correctly and the chatbot allows you external data uploads, you're going to get much more reliable information. Moving on, examples can significantly improve the AI's responses. When you provide examples, you set a template for the AI to follow. That can be incredibly useful, especially if you're dealing with complex topics. The process of prompt engineering is iterative. You don't always get the perfect answer on the first try. It's like talking to a person. It's often necessary to ask follow-up questions. You may even have to refine your prompt. So our recommendation is you interact with the AI in a conversational manner to zero in on the information you need. Just keep drilling in until you get what you want. Feedback and adjust is crucial. If the AI's response isn't quite what you're looking for, don't hesitate to tell it that. Provide feedback. The AI uses the feedback to learn and improve future responses. Lastly, don't forget to ask ChatGPT for help. If you're not sure how to phrase your prompt or you're getting responses that aren't quite right, ask the GPT on guidance on how to improve your prompt. Also, don't forget to ask for sources, especially if you provide RAG, retrieval augmented generative data, or you simply upload context files like a document to analyze. Ask ChatGPT to tell it what it uses as a reference for its claims. Challenge it just like you would any person who makes outrageous claims. Now, in summary, these steps are going to help you maintain the integrity and usefulness of AI in your work. By engaging with AI in this manner, you can harness its full potential to enhance your productivity and decision making. So let's get real. Getting ChatGPT to give you a result that will thrill you depends not only on the data it was trained on, it also depends on how you frame your request. So welcome to the wonderful world of prompt, or prompt engineering as it's sometimes called. As business analysts, you're used to dealing with structured statements. Now, how you express your business requirements, your stakeholder requirements, your user stories, and so on, is fixed. They might even be optimized for your organization. That improves efficiency. That's a good thing. So here in no particular sequence is a structure for how to prompt a ChatGPT that will improve the odds of getting a reasonable response. For starters, define the role that you want ChatGPT to play. ChatGPT is like a Swiss Army knife with an attitude. It's exceptionally versatile. You need to tell it whose opinion you're soliciting with your request. Do you want to talk to a doctor, or would you rather ask a janitor? Tell it, if you want to know something about business analysis, that it's a BA or a CBAP. Unless you assign a specific role, you're going to get a generic answer. The key is specificity. Know from whom you want an answer. Once you have the role set, it's time to chart the course. You'll establish clear guidelines, and this is kind of like setting signposts along a pathway to help ChatGPT navigate toward the desired outcome without detours. Think of it as the GPS for your AI journey. Clarity is power. By specifying the tasks with precision, you create a checklist for success. Every item ticked off is really a step closer to your goal. Whether you're crafting an email or composing a poem, the task needs to be clear as a bell. Context is the backdrop that gives meaning to prompts. It's like giving ChatGPT a peek into the bigger picture. That allows it to tailor its responses with greater relevance and depth. Without context, you might as well be talking to a wall. Also, let ChatGPT know who you are and what your expectations are so that it can formulate the responses accordingly. Finally, how do you want your results? You want an MS Word document? You want an Excel file? You want the structured braces of JSON or the nested elements of XML? The output format that you ask for should align with your utilitarian needs. How are you going to use this information? That makes sure that it is a smoother integration into your workflows. So effective prompt engineering is really about getting ChatGPT to perform at its best. It's about being the director of an AI-powered performance where precision leads to excellence. So with all that, it's time I show you what I mean. My first demonstration is going to be about how you can use ChatGPT to create requirements or user stories from interview notes. And I'm going to show you that, give you a demonstration of how it works, and we'll make sure that you get what you really need. So this is going to be your first demonstration of using ChatGPT. I usually start off new chats with ignore prior instructions to kind of clear the slate for ChatGPT. It tells it, don't ignore things that I have told you before. This is a new beginning. It says here you're a senior business analyst in an automobile insurance company. So I have identified the role and given it context as to what kind of a job you're doing. Further, you're working on a project to create a new app that will allow people to apply for automobile insurance coverage on their mobile devices. So I've given a short definition of the project that that I'm working on that I needed to do something for. You'll notice I have not yet made a request. Next, I say, given the provided interview notes, so I'm going to give it the interview notes down here, identify 3 business requirements. Now that's fundamentally my first request, something I am asking ChatGPT to do, kind of buried in the middle of the sentence, but ChatGPT will figure that out. Business requirements from Nancy. Follow the who, what, and why structure for each requirement. So this is a way of expressing business requirements that I teach in my business analysis courses, one that I prefer. You can put any kind of a format in there that you prefer. A good idea to create an example, we said. So here's my example. Customers can receive the shipment for ordered products within 1 business day to increase customer satisfaction. That is a who, what, and a why. Now, I've added the last statement here. Just list the requirements without explanation, because if you let ChatGPT go, if I just ask it the way I did, it can get verbose at times. It may try to explain to me why it picked this particular business requirement and things like that. For the purposes of the demo, I don't want that explanation. I just want to see the results. So I'm actually limiting what I want it to come back with. Now I'm providing it with the interview notes. You'll notice I have it started off here with a little square bracket. That's actually a sign to ChatGPT that this is the background data I want you to process. So I've given it that information. I want to real quickly walk you through a little bit of it. Our mobile app will allow a prospect to submit his or her application online. It's going to check their credit. If they are approved, then the app will email a temporary proof of insurance certificate, something I want you to remember, and things like that the prospect can print out, use to register their vehicle. It also has a part in here that talks about paying for a premium. Customer is going to display a list of the customer's policies, and so on. So what I'm asking ChatGPT to do is analyze these interview notes and give me 3 business requirements. I don't have to stick with the number 3. I can pick any number I want. I picked 3, again, for the demo effect. But if you wanted to say 10 or 50, I will tell you there is a limit to how long your conversations with ChatGPT can be, but it is not a cleanly defined limit that we are aware of. It's based on a thing called tokens, which is a way that the AI, GPT, and LLMs store their data. So it comes back with 3 business requirements. Prospective customers need the ability to submit their applications online through the mobile app to simplify and expedite the application process. Customers require the functionality to view and manage their policy statements within the app, including the display of policy statuses and overdue alerts to effectively manage their insurance coverage and payments. So you'll see the way that ChatGPT has expressed these business requirements isn't taken out of the text. They read the text, they analyzed the text. ChatGPT is actually formulating total new content here. Nothing that it read. Nothing that it read, because the format and the structure is picked by ChatGPT. I gave it the rules that I wanted to follow, and I gave it the information to analyze. Number 3, the app must provide a temporary proof of insurance via email to customers who are newly approved or existing customers in good standing, enabling them to register their vehicles promptly. I demonstrated where that was in the interview notes. That's the business requirement that ChatGPT created out of that. Now, I'm not trying to say that these are fantastic business requirements. Actually, these are recommended requirements or suggestions that I should consider. I would never give these to the customer as is. Any output I get from ChatGPT, I have to evaluate. I have to have the knowledge to know, is that a good answer or a bad answer, before I spread the word out to the world. So I would definitely check whether or not this is good, bad, or indifferent before I did anything with it. However, assuming I like that business requirement, I can continue on with some further ideas. According to the International Institute of Business Analysts, you move from a business requirement, which is a high-level goal or objective for the project, to a stakeholder requirement, which is a requirement that the users need in order for them to be able to implement, let the application of the software implement the business requirement. So I'm going to ask it develop 3 stakeholder requirements based on business requirement number 3. And you'll notice I don't have to give it all of this text again. It produced that text. It remembers what it said. So I'm just going to say business requirement number 3. And it comes back by identifying stakeholders, like the marketing team is a stakeholder. They need the app to automatically generate a branded, professional looking temporary proof of insurance certificate to enhance brand image and ensure consistent communication with new and existing customers. Now, again, this is new text. I never told it any of this. It recognized that temporary proof of insurance as a concept, so it is verbatim using that term, but that professional looking certificate, enhancing brand image, and ensuring consistent communication, it came up with all of that on its own based on its training. Number two, the IT security team requires the process of emailing temporary proof of insurance certificates is secure and compliant with data protection regulations to safeguard customer information and maintain regulatory compliance. Very good one. I want to go into number three real briefly here. Customer service reps need a feature in the app that allows them to access and resend. I never said anything about that in the interview notes. Temporary proof of insurance certificates upon customer request to provide effective and efficient customer support. Now, that's an example, again, of how ChatGPT read the interview notes. It looked at the business requirement. All three of these stakeholder requirements relate to that business requirement number three. All of them have to do with the issuance of temporary proof of insurance. The next thing I can go to, according to the IIBA, is a thing called a solution requirement, which is moving down a level to where we're starting to get from what the business wants to things that the technology or the IT department needs to be able to deliver it. So I'm asking it to suggest 3 user stories for stakeholder requirement number 3. And it can deliver. It comes back with the user story. As a customer service rep, I want to be able to easily access and resend temporary proof of insurance certificates to customers so I can quickly address customer requests and ensure they have the necessary documents for vehicle registration. Now, this actually follows a very commonly recommended format for a user story, which is as a customer service representative. That's an as a role. I want to be able to do something, and I need it because so that I can quickly address customer requests. Now, that's a standard format that's recommended by many people for a user story. I personally use a slightly different form of it, and if I wanted ChatGPT to express the user stories in that format, I would have told it that. I would have given it a format, a structure or a template for writing a user story the way I want it and not the way the general population wants it. But it does a great job of identifying these user stories. And interestingly enough, it identified the roles: a customer service representative, the customer, and the IT administrator as being 3 separate roles who have different use needs based upon the stakeholder requirements. Now, I want to look here again at number 2 because we're going to work that one a little further. As a customer, I should be able to request a resend of my temporary proof of insurance certificate through the app if I didn't receive it or I need it again, so that I can obtain my proof of insurance without having to wait for a customer service assistant. That's a very good user story, but if I have a user story, what I really need to communicate to the developers to make sure that they deliver what I want is a thing called an acceptance criteria. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to develop 3 acceptance criteria for user story number 2. And it delivers wonderfully. The email delivery confirmation acceptance criteria: when a customer requests a resend or their temporary proof of insurance or via the app, the system must automatically confirm the delivery of the email to the customer's registered email address, ensuring the customer is aware that the document has been sent. It has a acceptance criteria for user interface clarity. The option to resend a temporary proof of insurance certificate should be clearly accessible and user-friendly within the app, allowing customers to make the request without needing additional assistance or the extensive navigation. Another one it brings is the response time standard. Upon a customer's request for a resend of temporary proof of insurance certificate, the system must process and send the email within a maximum of 5 minutes, ensuring prompt delivery and minimal waiting time for the customer. So, to recap, what we have done to date is we got interview notes from a customer. We asked it to create business requirements. That's the highest level of requirements according to the IIBA. Then we created stakeholder requirements that were relevant to a given one of these specific business requirements. We created user stories specific to one of the stakeholder requirements. And then we created acceptance criteria for a selected user story. Now,
Well, final thing I'm going to ask it is, can you move the user stories to Jira? Those that aren't familiar with it, Jira is a requirements repository. It's a way of capturing user stories, keeping track of them so that the IT department knows what they have to do and they can work from that. That's where ChatGPT comes back and says, I'm unable to interact with external systems like Jira directly. However, I can guide you on how to transfer the user stories to Jira manually. And here it gives me a wonderful step-by-step instructions on how I can manually take the user stories that it has suggested and get them into the Jira repository so that the IT department can start to process it. I think this is a wonderful tool for anybody that is into business analysis that needs to create user stories and communicate them to the IT department. So that's the first demonstration of what ChatGPT can do for you as the business analyst.
My second demonstration, I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT for document analysis by giving it the results of a survey and having it extract some data insights and actually go a little bit beyond just extracting the insights, but preparing them for a management presentation.
So here's our next demo. And in this demo, I'm going to show you how to do a retrieval augmented generation, meaning I'm going to give it data that I want it to specifically analyze. The way you do that with ChatGPT, by the way, is you use this paper clip down at the bottom. If you click on that, it will ask you what file you want it to upload. And it can read several different formats like Microsoft documents, Word documents. It can read PDF files. It can even read some diagrams, pictures, if they are in the proper format, and analyze them. So I have uploaded a document called the Moneycaster Survey Results, and I'll show you exactly what's in that document. This is a two-page document that we have captured from interviewing a lot of customers about how well they are satisfied with the Moneycaster product that the company provides. It's not an extremely long document, but what I would like ChatGPT to do is I would like ChatGPT to analyze this document and tell me some of the insights, some of the pertinent findings of it. So that's the document that I'm going to analyze. I've been fed that to ChatGPT. My instructions to ChatGPT are to ignore prior instructions. Like I said earlier, I always start with that. You're a product manager. It's been promoted. Please conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the attached customer survey regarding our Moneycaster product. Your analysis should include the following key points: customer satisfaction, feature utilization and feedback, usability and accessibility, and actionable requirements. I also totally useless, but I added the statement, please present your findings in a clear and organized manner, like I'm expecting it to create chaos or something. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't matter if I give it too much information. I'm not sure you can. And ChatGPT comes back with the Moneycaster customer survey report, includes comprehensive findings and recommendations based on feedback from a diverse group of users. The key points include customer satisfaction, that's one of them, comes back with a startling 82%, so obviously we're doing something good. But issues in integration, customization, and pricing structure. So there are a few things that the customers are not satisfied with. The second one, feature utilization and feedback that I had requested. Forecast accuracy and the user interface are highly praised, but integration capabilities and real-time data processing needs improvement. They really seem to have a problem with our integration some way. Number three, usability and accessibility. Users appreciate the system's time-saving benefits and its positive impact on decision-making confidence. However, the need for improved integration, that word again. So actionable requirements that we asked it for. What the survey includes are strategies for improvements, including enhanced integration capabilities. I wonder where it came up with that idea. Reevaluating pricing, strengthening customer support, and incorporating advanced features like customizable dashboards. So that's an example of how I can get insights out of a survey. You can give it basically any document and you can ask it for a summary of the document. You can ask it to extract salient points out of the document. You can ask ChatGPT, you can actually almost have a conversation with the document that you have loaded. Now, I'm going to continue on. I don't have to reload that document because this is a continuing conversation for ChatGPT. Next, I'm going to ask it to create a PowerPoint presentation, including a slide for each category listing the subpoints with any percentages available. Now ChatGPT comes back with a wonderful statement. I have created a PowerPoint presentation based on the MoneyCaster customer survey report. Each slide corresponds to one of the key categories you requested, listing the subpoints along with the available percentages. You can download the presentation from the following link. Now, this link is where I downloaded the file from that it had created for me. And it's a wonderful file that does not have a whole lot of beautiful formatting, but it's at least documented created the bare bones of a PowerPoint presentation. So I would just have to make this prettier, clean it up, make it more attractive, and then possibly add some notes. Or wait, maybe I don't have to do that myself. Why don't we try asking ChatGPT to do that for us? So I'm going to give it the presentation. If I hadn't modified it, I could have just continued. But since I modified it somewhat, I'm going to give it that presentation back, and I'm going to say, for each slide, develop a presentation transcript for presenting these results to senior management. And ChatGPT comes back with, certainly, below is a presentation transcript tailored for each slide to present the MoneyCaster survey results to senior management. Customer satisfaction, slide 1, and it gives me the transcript for slide 1. So if I just wanted to use that information, I could just start reading it. Now, here again, I want to warn you, when you're dealing with ChatGPT, don't trust its output without checking. I would want to read through this. I want to vet it. That really implies that the only person that can really evaluate how good this is somebody who is a knowledgeable or an expert in that field. So you have to know what you want to say. You have to know, for your organization, does this sound good? Is the voice right? Is the delivery style correct? And things like that before you use it. But it gives you a great head start. So even if you need to improve it, you have a lot more to go on than just staring at a blank sheet. It has actually the transcript notes for each of the 4 slides that I had asked it for. And it tells me this is what you should be talking about. Even if I don't do this verbatim, by the way, I could go through here and just pick points that I really want to make in the presentation, depending upon what level of detail I want to go to with management. Well, that's fine. I've got a bunch of notes here. I have a PowerPoint slide file that has the slides in it. Well, geez, what I really wanted it to do was put those into the file. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you add the presentation notes to the original presentation and deliver it in a new PowerPoint file? ChatGPT comes back. I added the presentation notes to each slide in the original PowerPoint presentation. You can download the uploaded presentation with the notes included from the following link. And what I got out of that, is this file, which has not just the data from earlier. These colors I added myself. That was the modifications that I had done to the presentation before I gave it to ChatGPT. But what it has at the bottom are all of those notes, slide for slide, of the things that I need to talk about on that slide. So it is ready for making, improving the visual look of it, making it look a lot more, increasing the size of the text and things like that. And once I have that, I have a wonderful presentation. So we took this from interview notes that I had. I extracted out of the interview notes So what we have is we have started off with a survey that I uploaded. I asked ChatGPT to extract out of the survey some data insights. What are some of the points that the survey made? It did that. I asked it then to create a PowerPoint presentation with those notes. Then I asked it to make tell me what the presentation should be with notes and everything else. And it did all of that. That I think would be extremely valuable if you need to do any data analysis on a long document, you're in a hurry. If you use ChatGPT, it will help you identify some points. It will get you into a presentation very, very quickly. Actually, in reality, when I was preparing this took me less than 20 minutes to go from the MoneyCaster result down to this presentation. So you can see that without ChatGPT, this would have taken me a day or two at least.
I'm also going to give you a demonstration of how you can use ChatGPT to identify stakeholders. Stakeholder identification from a vision statement is a great way of using ChatGPT in order to prepare yourself for stakeholder interviews.
The next capability I would like to demonstrate for you is the use of ChatGPT to help you with stakeholder identification. Now, if you are a member of the International Institute of Business Analysis, you will have knowledge about what a communication plan is. If you're not, well, we're going to ask ChatGPT first to tell us what is in a stakeholder communication plan according to the IIBA. And it recognizes what that is, comes back with a stakeholder communication plan as outlined by the International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA, typically includes several key columns or elements. These elements help in organizing and presenting information about how stakeholders will be engaged and informed throughout the course of a project. The typical columns in a stakeholder communication plan include the stakeholder group, the name and group, that is the people that you need to talk to, their information needs. What do you need to communicate to these individuals? What interests them, or what information do they need in order to make decisions? The preferred communication method. How do they like to get information? Do they like it via email? Would they prefer an IM, or would they prefer face-to-face? Frequency of communication. How often do you have to talk with these, or should you talk with these individuals? How often is the communication going to be effective? If it's something that you need decisions on daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it is. Within that group, who is the responsible party? Who are you going to be contacting, and who is going to make sure that that information gets to the stakeholder? The purpose or objective of the communication, the expected format, how is it going to be expressed for effective use, and a feedback mechanism. How can they provide feedback to the information you're providing them? It also says here the plan is a dynamic document that can be adjusted as the project needs or stakeholder requirements change. It is an essential tool for ensuring that all relevant parties are kept informed and engaged throughout the project lifecycle. Now, I got the information about what a communication plan is, so I would like for ChatGPT to help me create one. And to that end, I'm going to feed it a BP Air vision statement, which is merely a statement expressing a new project that that a customer is attempting to implement, which has to do with booking flights on airplanes, getting tickets for the flight, also getting hotel rooms, and getting taxis or rental cars. I'm asking ChatGPT to analyze the attached vision statement to identify a list of stakeholders and create a communications plan. Comes back with, based on the vision statement from the Patagonia Pacific Air, pick that up out of the vision statement, that's the company, Papa Air. The following stakeholders can be identified for a communication plan. The customers, they're the ones that are going to be using the app. The customer service team, that's the internal group that is helping the customers. Finance department, the IT and development team, the database modernization project team. This is a team very specifically that is mentioned as one of the requirements in the vision statement, that your project cannot cause them undue delay. That's why they picked that particular group. Participating hotels and ground transportation providers. Since they want the app to be able to help them book hotel rooms and transportation, they need to be able to contact those people as well. The marketing team, management and executives, government and regulatory agencies, third-party providers. Now, this list is a nice list. I in no way guarantee that it's complete. I in no way can guarantee that there aren't things on here that I don't really need to talk to. It's a starting point. It's a suggestion. Now, ChatGPT created this list based purely upon its understanding of what I'm looking for when I am doing a project like the BP Air project. Based upon its information that it has gotten in its training, it decided these are roles that are going to have to be represented. And again, they're a great starting point. So what I really would like, however, I wanted to create a communications plan. And all it does is it gives me these 10 listed. And it says, well, you got to address these items. And they're actually the items that are in the other columns of the communications plan. So I'm going to prompt it to create a draft of the communication plan with the columns recommended by the IIBA. And here's a draft of the communications plan for Patagonia Air, incorporating the columns recommended by the IIBA. So it does a wonderful job of giving me all of those columns, all of these stakeholders that I identified. Now this looks like it might be cut off here. That's actually only a display issue because I have down here a slider. And if I move that over, you're going to see the additional columns of the table. So it has created an entire customer communications plan where it invented all of the information that I didn't provide it. I didn't tell it how these people, whether they want email or whatever. It's making these suggestions. So this is a table that I can now manipulate, I can manage, I can modify it to be able to figure out how does that work in my organization with these people. But I don't really want a table that is in ChatGPT. I don't want to have to work with that with the customers. I would like to have it in a friendlier format. So I'm asking it to give me this table in a Microsoft Excel format. And it comes back with the stakeholder plan has been created and saved in the Microsoft Excel format. You can download the file using the link below, which I did when I created this document. And so I used created the Microsoft Excel to download it. The only change I had to make on this document is I had to select all of the columns and auto-fit the column width because it had all of the columns grouped together very tight at the left. There I have a completed communications plan. None of these are cast in concrete. Remember that. I have to go through here and figure out for my project, for my needs, from my perspective as a business analysis expert, is this what the customers need or do they need something else? Do the customer service team need this or more? What is their preferred mode of communication? How frequently they're going to get it? Who is the responsible party? And so on. Now, if I had fed ChatGPT an organizational chart of Patagonia Air, it would have actually given me names of individuals here instead of groups or managers of the area. So this is the way you can use ChatGPT to go from, again, nothing but a vision statement, which is a very high-level expression of a desired product, down to an initial list of stakeholders, even down to the level of having a communication plan that tells you how to deal with each of these stakeholders.
Modeling and visualization is something that ChatGPT can help you with as well. It actually is able to take information out of interview notes and create a sequence diagram so that you have a picture that you can work with as opposed to dealing only with words.
So the fourth and final demonstration I'd like to do for you is how to create a diagram with ChatGPT. Now this time, instead of using ChatGPT 4, as you have seen me using up here, I'm actually asking it to use a plugin that ChatGPT offers called Diagrams Show Me. That's because the outcome of this is not going to be a textual document, it's going to be a diagram. So that's the way I try to get to a diagram. Again, I'm just going to start off as if it were ChatGPT because it is part of ChatGPT. Ignore prior instructions. You're an expert business analyst and have tons of experience in process and workflow analysis. That's the background that I need in order for me to get ChatGPT to create the diagram I want. First step is identify all entities that interact in the following interview notes. So what are all of the players who are involved in this particular project? Now this time I am pasting the interview notes in here. The customer triggers the action. We receive an order with or without a complaint. You can pause the video and read this at your leisure if you'd like. It is about a very simple ordering process where customers place orders with the company checks their credit. If they have the products, if the product that they're ordered, then they're going to go to shipping and accounting. So it's really a very simple a very simple process we're talking about here for the sake of the demo. So I'm asking it to to identify the entities, and it does a wonderful job. Out of that, it identifies, well, that text deals with customers, an order processing department, a credit department, an inventory management department, a fulfillment center, a shipping department, an accounting department, and a customer service department. A lot of good departments. So it has really identified all of the key players out of that interview text that I have given it up above. But I don't want it just to do the entities. That is what I asked for, and it did a wonderful job. What I really would like it to do now is create a sequence diagram, which is a specific type of a diagram that shows workflow. And it shows how all of these departments interact in order for the company to be able to get an order from the customer, check the order to make sure it's legit, make sure it's paid for, make sure they have the product, and get this order over to the fulfillment department so they can ship it out. So I'm asking for a sequence diagram, and it does a great job of it. It's using the plugin that I mentioned, the Show Me plug, Diagram Show Me plugin. Talks to a diagrams, and it gets this wonderful sequence diagram. And if I want to see the whole thing, I can go to full screen. That will show me the diagram with all of those players across the top and all of their interaction indicated down in the flows. So you get very quickly to a diagram like that, which is extremely valuable if you are into business analysis. So that's now the final demonstration that I would like to give you.
Now that I've wowed you with what generative AI can do for you, it's time for a reality check. Yes, Virginia, there are risks associated with the use of this powerful tool. Here are some in no particular order. AI models are trained on existing data sets, which may contain biases or inaccuracies. I kind of mentioned that before. So relying on AI for analysis can perpetuate or even amplify these biases in business decisions. There's a risk of becoming overly dependent on AI for decision making. That can potentially overlook the nuanced understandings and relationships that critical thinking by human beings could provide. AI-generated analyses are based on patterns in data, and they may not always recognize the context or correlation or even causation. This can lead to misinterpretation of the results. Using AI in business analysis often involves processing sensitive personal or corporate data. There is a risk of data breaches or misuse. It's on a computer, it can be hacked, and especially if the AI system's security measures aren't robust. AI systems might not be fully compliant with industry regulations, especially those concerning data processing and handling. That can lead to legal and financial repercussions, especially on laws that have been passed after the AI had already worked on its, the LLM was created. It can be challenging or impossible to attribute accountability for decisions made with the help of AI, as it's not always clear how the AI arrived at a particular conclusion. AI models are based on a thing called tokens, and tokens in the AI world are a limit on how much information you can process at the same time. It's how they store the information in their databases and how they take the prompts that you're giving them. So there are limits for every generative AI tool, and usually these limits are not advertised. The AI models might not be equipped to handle unique or unprecedented business scenarios, leading to inadequate or erroneous analysis. And integrating them into business processes that already exist can be challenging, and that can actually require significant changes in workflows and potential resistance from employees. Developing, implementing, and maintaining AI systems can be really costly and resource intensive, and that can require specialized skills and continuous updates. There's another risk that is very often neglected that I think is one of the most important ones, and that is the potential erosion in human skills. If your over-reliance on AI can lead to a decline in the development and maintenance of these critical analytical skills amongst business analysts. Bottom line, AI is not a free lunch. There are costs and risks associated with its use. As a business analyst, you need to be able to communicate these risks and potential problems to senior management so they can make grounded decisions. Well, I hope this presentation and the demonstrations prove that BAs can use generative AI to work smarter and faster, given all of the caveats that I've thrown at you. As the linchpin between stakeholders and solution providers, you are uniquely situated to take advantage of this revolutionary technology. And AI for BAs, I think, is a real game changer. Figure out how to use generative AI effectively, especially things like prompt engineering, and you can become an even more valuable asset to your organization. You are still indispensable. Without prompting and validation, AI is risky at best, dangerous at worst. You are still the leader of the band. So for those of you that are eager to dive deeper, we offer a selection of comprehensive Udemy courses. Just Visit the link on the screen, or you can scan the QR code to the left for direct access. I'd also like to invite you to explore our YouTube channel, where you're going to find a wealth of free videos. I think we're over 150 in the meantime. These are all tailored to help business analysts like you harness the power of artificial intelligence. And again, you can use the QR code to the left to explore, or you can use the link to explore these resources. If you have any questions, or if you want to discuss today's content further, don't hesitate to reach out. My email address is right there for you, tom.hathaway@ba-experts.com. So I thank you for your attention and time, and I look forward to our continued learning journey together.